ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Gentex Multimedia Daily Live Updates for the 7th of October. Well, it's a very historic day. The budget's been put out and we have lots and lots to talk about, all relating to the budget, of course, and of course what's all happening out there. So this is the 11 a.m. update, and guess what? Tomorrow again we will be at 11 a.m. This morning we were with the Prime Minister for a media conference and a media release. We'll bring to you clips of that in a minute as well. And of course tomorrow will be the meeting with Lord Mayor in the morning. So we'll bring an update on that meeting as well. But tomorrow's live cast will once again be at 11 a.m. All right, now let's take a very quick look at the weather. And with that, let's welcome to the studios Dilraj.
Good morning everyone. Weather forecast for the rest of today is maximum 27 degree. Brisbane area is partly cloudy with 5% chances of rain. Light winds becoming easterly 15 to 20 km per hour in the early afternoon, then becoming light in the evening. Fire danger is high. Sun protection is recommended till 3 past 10 and UV index is predicted to reach 10, that is very high. Till tomorrow, stay safe and have a good day.
And thank you very much for that, Dilraj. As has been mentioned, that we should always take care with the sun protection, with the UV rating being very high, as we know that Queensland sun can be very, very unforgiving. Well, right now let's talk all about, and it's all talk is about the budget. But before we go into the budget itself, let's take a quick look at the headlines for today.
There's cash payments to pensioners that are planned to create just under 1 million jobs over the next 4 years. They are the centrepieces of the Morrison government's budget response to the pandemic. Employers who take on an unemployed person for at least 20 hours a week will get a so-called job maker wage subsidy, while businesses can instantly write off new equipment. It's forecasting all this spending will see the Australian economy roar back from a recession next year, growing by nearly 5%. But it all comes at a pretty big cost. The budget deficit will blow out to close to $214 billion this year, with government debt peaking at just under $1 trillion. And it is all based on the hope, and it's only a hope, that a COVID-19 vaccine is made widely available by the end of next year.
The reality is we've printed a series of deficits tonight and a higher debt burden. But this has been the heavy price to save lives and livelihoods. We had no other alternative.
The government has racked up $1 trillion of debt, and yet still we've got unemployment too high for too long. $1 trillion in debt, still no vision or plan for the future. Still too many people left behind. Still not undoing the damage of the last 7 years of mismanagement. So the point that we'll be making is, you'd think that we could get more bang for buck.
Well, the President has again sought to downplay the seriousness of coronavirus, wrongly claiming that the illness is, in most places, less deadly than the flu. The social media platform Twitter flagged his tweet as misleading, while Facebook deleted the post. Donald Trump's medical team says the US President reported no symptoms on his first full day back at the White House following treatment in hospital for COVID-19.
And hopes of a release from lockdown in Victoria have taken a blow. The state recorded 15 new cases yesterday. New South Wales has had an 11th straight day with no local COVID-19 infections. That's great news. And from midnight tonight, South Australia will ease border restrictions with Victoria by extending that buffer zone along the border by 30 kilometres.
And that is good news, but of course the bad news is that Victoria is not right on the track for those releases that they've been talking about and in easing those restrictions. Well, right now today the talk is all about budget. Well, before we go to this year's budget, I am going to the last budget. When we were in Canberra, we were there with the Treasurer, and we were looking at how things were shaping out. So first, a trip down memory lane for the last budget, when we were actually, Brisbane Indian Times and Australian Indian Radio was part of the media team there inside the Parliament House itself.
Invest back into fairer and more flexible superannuation, and the other $3 billion gets reinvested back in the earning economy through the tax cuts that we've got. So $6 billion of revenue coming out of the top 4% of superannuation member holders is getting invested back into 96% of the superannuation for other Australians, particularly those on low incomes.
The low income ones, so that's something that Labor will say was taken out of the 2014 budget.
They can say whatever they like. It doesn't usually add up to anything, as we've learnt in the last sort of 24 hours. But the listo, and we're doing it as a tax offset, because what it is a tax offset. It's not a welfare payment. This is a tax offset for people who've earned some money and they're paying it into their superannuation. And they shouldn't pay more tax on what they're putting into their superannuation than they do on their earned income. So it's incredibly important that we think that we provide that tax offset, not another welfare payment for low income earners. They should be able to keep their own money. Good to see you. No, you probably have a lonely economist. Long time ago. No, I've never worked at a bank before. So, yeah, what do you think about superannuation stuff?
I haven't got to. I've only been here for about 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I agree.
Why don't you haven't consumed the whole thing yet, Saul?
Well, apart from the bits that you let me read through other newspapers.
Well, some of them got it right and some of them got it wrong. I'm sure someone's writing a book on that. But it seemed not all the sources everyone had were terribly accurate.
You should file away the average cop at the capital level is more than 80,000 a year.
Well,
which is nothing wrong with that.
No, I think
but he's.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you are. That is from the previous budget announcement. But this year, because of COVID and everything, we couldn't all be there. So this year, the media conference took place virtually, especially with the multicultural media. And here's a glimpse of what's happening in that multicultural media arena. And once again, Brisbane Indian Times and Australian Indian Radio were part of that multicultural media conference.
Through the CEFC and the Arena Finance Corporation. These organisations investing in energy technologies for the future. Our manufacturing plan, $1.5 billion. Prioritising key areas like food and beverage manufacturing, aerospace, and the defence industries, mining sectors and so on. Key areas that are going to drive our economy forward. And in addition, we have job training initiatives on training incentives, universities, deregulation, and work that we've done on digital transformation. Industrial relations reforms are also being progressed through our process led by the Attorney General. I make those points to make it clear that whether it's our infrastructure investment or other important medium-term reforms, this is what is going to see, the Australian economy continue to recover and grow into the future. Why have I spent so much time telling you about those top-line issues in the budget? The reason is because it benefits all Australians. Regardless of what your background is, regardless of what community, regardless of what corner of the country you live in. These measures are designed to support everyone, right across the country. And I believe together with other countries. I mean, other countries where this is possible, countries like Singapore, where it could be done. As we move into next year and seek to try and normalise as best we can student entries into Australia for the start of next year's university year, we're still working on that. But the reality is we must be very careful. I mean, Australia is an open country. We've always looked outside ourselves, not just for our economic opportunities, but for our social connection with the rest of the world and for our many migrant communities and ethnic communities in Australia. Maintaining that link we know is incredibly important, and the migration program that supports our economy, as I said before. So, look, I won't say we'll be rushing here. We'll be proceeding carefully. The impacts of further waves of COVID coming through our country would be devastating. We've seen what that has meant in Melbourne. We don't want to see that happen again. And so we will be cautious, but we are open to those opportunities, and I am working with other leaders around the world to see what can be achieved. Technology will be a key factor in this, testing technologies in particular. moving to alternative types of quarantine arrangements, trialling those and making sure that we can have confidence about them, and ensuring we get even more enhanced tracing capabilities in Australia to deal with any potential outbreaks which may come from a relaxation of those arrangements. But I don't anticipate them happening anytime soon. But New Zealand's step will be the first one, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you. The next question is from SBS Hindi program, Masiki.
So we will leave that at that point. So it was good to see that all the multicultural media that were present in that in our meeting, the virtual meeting with Prime Minister, and that came right after the announcement at the Parliament House itself. Well, right now, let's go to the news and hear from our Treasurer and some of the key points. Who are the winners, who are the losers in the budget announcement? So the first, the government is going to double the number of subsidised psychological sessions.
Mental health and suicide prevention is a national priority. My heart goes out to all those Australians, young and old, for whom COVID-19 has caused such pain. My message tonight is that this House stands with you. You are not alone. Around 7 million Medicare subsidised mental health services have been delivered since March. And tonight, we are doubling the number of Medicare-funded psychological services through the Better Access Initiative from 10 to 20. We're providing more funding for Lifeline, for Headspace, for Beyond Blue and for Kids Helpline. We're providing support for more young Australians with a mental illness to help them participate in the workforce. And these initiatives will bring our commitment to mental health to $5.7 billion this year. And this is not the last word. In coming weeks, we will release the Productivity Commission's Mental Health Final Report and the interim report into suicide prevention that was commissioned by the Prime Minister. These reports will guide our future actions, and working together with the states and the territories, we will save lives.
So, those key guidelines there on mental health, and that is very important, especially this month is the Mental Health Awareness Month, and there's a lot that's being done in that space and in that field. Well, right now, moving on, federal budget is to include cash payments worth $500 for pensioners. Let's get on to that news.
To support our aged pensioners, we provided $750 payments in April and July. And tonight, I announced that aged pensioners will receive an additional $250 payment from December and a further $250 payment from March next year. Aged care is one of the greatest challenges that we face in delivering essential services to Australians. During this crisis, an additional $1.6 billion has already been provided to support the needs of Australians in aged care. Next February, the government will receive the final recommendations of the Royal Commission we established into aged care. In December of last year, we committed an additional $537 million to immediately respond to the interim report. The government will provide a comprehensive response to the final recommendations following receipt of that report, and this will involve significant additional investment. But we will continue to take action now as promised.
So they will take action now as promised, and of course the other area that's been looked at is the Regional Recovering Funding Package. So what would that package look like? Let's once again hear from our Treasurer.
Mr Speaker, our regions have endured the most widespread natural disasters in decades. Tonight's budget includes a package of measures to create jobs and back regional Australia's economic recovery. $2 billion in concessional loans to help farmers overcome the devastating drought. $350 million to support regional tourism, attract domestic visitors back to the regions, and a further round of the Building Better Regions Fund, and $317 million for Australian exporters to continue to access global supply chains, building on the 80,000 tonnes of exports we have already helped get to market. Mr. Speaker, our regions cannot thrive without water. This government is building water infrastructure for the 21st century to increase our water security, build resilience, deliver jobs and grow our agricultural sector. I announced $2 billion in new funding to build vital water infrastructure across the country as part of our national water grid, including dams, weirs and pipelines. We will undertake the biggest single investment in Australia's Commonwealth's national parks, injecting $233 million to upgrade facilities in Uluru, Kakadu, Christmas Island and Booderee National Park.
And that is wonderful news, but the next news is what a lot of people are saying is a very welcome move, where the government has committed $1.2 billion to boost the apprenticeship scheme. Let's hear about that scheme.
We commit an additional $1.2 billion to create 100,000 new apprenticeships, with a 50% wage subsidy for businesses who employ them. In this budget, to help Australians get a job, we are funding 50,000 new higher education short courses in agriculture, health, IT, science and teaching. 12,000 new Commonwealth supported places for higher education in 2021. 2,000 Indigenous students through the Clontarf Foundation to complete Year 12 and pursue further education or find employment.
All this is very good, it is wonderful, but it does come at a cost. So our net debt will peak $966 billion by June 2024.
COVID-19 will see our deficit reach $213.7 billion this year, falling to $66.9 billion by 2023-24. Net debt will increase to $703 billion, or 36% of GDP this year, and peak at $966 billion, or 44% of GDP in June 2024. This is a heavy burden, but a necessary one to responsibly deal with the greatest challenge of our time.
A heavy burden and a heavy debt, but to responsibly deal with the situation that is at hand. Well, let's now hear from our own Jim Chalmers from Queensland, who is the SEDO Treasurer, and get his response.
If you're talking about the incentives for hiring, we do have a concern there, and the concern is this. There are 928,000 Australians on unemployment benefits who aren't eligible for any of these hiring subsidies. Too many people have been left out and left behind, workers over 35, for example. And when you think about the future for those workers, there's been no budgeted increase in the job seeker amount, so it's back to $40 a day unless the government tells us otherwise. JobKeeper's being cut at the same time. So I think for those 928,000 workers, they have been left out and left behind and left in the lurch, and that's very concerning to us.
That is concerning, of course. No part of the society should be left behind. Let's once again hear from the Treasurer.
Nice to be with you, Lee.
Your promises and targets are based on these assumptions listed in the budget papers, that future coronavirus outbreaks in Australia are all localised and contained, that a mass vaccine is available by the end of next year, that people keep on obeying social distancing, that all state borders except WA are open by the end of this year, and that there's no major disaster or shock internationally. That's an incredibly fragile foundation, isn't it?
Well, there is great uncertainty, unprecedented uncertainty in the economic environment, not just here in Australia, but globally right now. As you know, the country was on a trajectory for a speedy recovery until we saw that second wave of cases in Victoria. Victoria, representing a quarter of the national economy, has hit it hard, and that's hit GDP in the September quarter by up to $14 billion alone. So we have made a set of assumptions based on the evidence available to us. As you know, the states are working with the Prime Minister to lift borders by the end of the year. We've said that Western Australia's border won't open till April, and as for a COVID vaccine, we're doing everything possible, both with our researchers here in Australia, but linking into the global supply chain to ensure that Australians have access to it next year.
It's a fair conclusion, though, isn't it, looking at what Treasury says in these budget papers, that your path to recovery is best case scenario and could easily be derailed?
Well, actually, the Treasury papers outline a couple of other scenarios that may be even better cases. So in the event that we get access to the vaccine earlier than is laid out in the budget papers.
Now, the big question is about the vaccine as to when it would be available, and of course a lot on this budget is dependent upon that vaccine being developed and made available as well. So that is a variable in the equation there as well. Well, right now it's time to go to the real estate news.
It's time now for Real Estate Update. With Wusha Chandra of GlobeNet Realty, real estate is our world.
Now we're standing here face to face, afraid to move.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this segment of Real Estate Update with GlobeNet Realty and with Usha Chandra. So with that, we'd like to welcome to the show to Usha. Welcome to the show, Usha.
Good morning, Umesh, and good morning to our listeners. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Well, it's wonderful time, and it is interesting times as well, as we know that the federal budget's been announced, and of course when there is a budget or when there is an election, it always has implications on real estate. So what's happening with the real estate, and what has the budget in store for the real estate industry?
Yes, there is some very good news for the real estate industry and the construction industry. There is the budget last night. The Treasurer, Josh Frydenberg, has given some very good news to the real estate industry as well and the construction industry. There is incentives for the first home buyers to buy their first home with the government grant of $20,000 and with the interest rate as low as 5%. 5% required for their home loans. And the other thing, the other very good news is that the government is going to be guarantor is the lender's insurance as well. Before, we used to have lender's insurance if you had less than 20% deposit. Now with 5% deposit, that buyers don't have to have lender's insurance, where the government will guarantee as the insurance as well.
So that is wonderful news. And do you see that with all these measures in place, do you see any increased activity in the real estate industry?
Definitely. There is a lot of increased in first home buyers. As soon as the announcement came last night, there's multiple people ringing, like lenders have contacted me as well, saying that how good the news is. This morning I've received a few calls as well from a couple of buyers who are looking to buy their brand new homes. In our area, we have got brand new constructions of townhouses very close to the station there in Boondall, and it's all going to happen. The construction has already started, and we are getting a bit of interest, and from today we'll get more interest in buying those new townhouses and new properties.
So in terms of first home buyers, as we know that they have been identified as the winners in this field, so what would be available in terms of deposits or getting together into that market?
Yes, with a minimum of 5% deposit and that's pretty easy. I mean, people are, if they are renting, it might be easier for them to buy their first home buyers, first home property, as they will be wasting their money in renting. The equity will, they'll be building their own home equity in their property as well. And it's very good news. I mean, never we were allowed to buy houses with 5% deposit. It's just exceptional news for first home buyers, and I think a lot of first home buyers should take this advantage and buy their first home.
So why does that leave the investors? So what about the investors and their field? Investors who are getting into the market for renting properties, in the investment, which has always been traditionally a backbone of the real estate. So where does it leave the investors?
I think the investors will slow down a little bit. A few of the investors are selling their homes. We have got a couple of investors who have already put their investment property on the market, and I think we'll have more investors coming on the market for sale. So they'll be selling their properties because they won't have that many tenants looking for properties to rent. This is the best opportunity for first home buyers to own their own home.
So with the first home buyers coming into the market, they're going into their own homes rather than renting. So you predict that there will be a decline in the number of investment properties. But as we know, that has traditionally been the backbone of real estate, and of course of real estate agencies, banking on the rent roll and banking on the rental income there as well. So with this the first home scheme, does it apply to just established homes or new homes?
This grant is for new homes only at the moment. So there's a lot of construction happening, as I said, and it's only for new homes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the sofa for all those updates. So just a quick look at the coming weekend. Is there anything that you'd like to add on, any open houses for this weekend?
Yes, we have got a couple of open houses. As I said previously as well, we haven't got that many properties. We have got the 4 open houses this Saturday. The first one is at Callum Vale, 9 to 9:30 at 4 Windsor Court in Callum Vale, 4 bedroom, 2 bathrooms, 2 car home for $549. The second one is at number 1 Songbed Way in Tigeham, 11 to 11:30. That's 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2 cars with a pool. And the third one is at 26 North Home Crescent in Boondall, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2 cars, open at 12 o'clock. And the fourth one is open at 1 o'clock, number 49 Rogan Road in Boondall. That's a 5 bedroom, 3 bathrooms, double car home with multiple living areas. And that's all the open houses for this Saturday. And we have got a few rental open houses as well. The rental, last week's rentals were very good. We had multiple applications on properties. As I was discussing with Vicky on Tuesday, she had about 35 people in one of the houses in Chermside, and with multiple applications. So that shows that there's still demand of rental properties in the right areas. There's a couple of other rental properties which we have got applications on that as well. We have got another one in Cathedral Place in the Valley. So we have got a couple of people interested in that. So the rental market is still good. But we really need the sales market to boost the sales market, as we'll have multiple buyers coming in the marketplace very soon with this home buyers grant.
And before we let you go, how is your promotion going with that $5,000 giveaway deal?
The promotion is going slowly at the moment. We would like to make it happen very, very soon. We are doing stall in Tigeham Shopping Centre on Saturday the 17th. So the girls will be doing a stall there in the shopping centre to promote our the prizes and to promote our business as well. And so they will be there at the shopping centre from 9 till 3 o'clock on Saturday the 17th of October. So please feel free to come and say hello to our girls. So yeah, the promotion is going okay at the moment.
Okay, so that's quite a promotion. And so, with this stall, so which shopping center would this stall be at?
This is in our trading area. It's the stall will be at Tigum Shopping Centre, which is a large shopping centre, just a few minutes from Boondall, from our office.
So would there be any giveaways at this stall?
Yes, we might have a giveaway. We haven't decided on the giveaway, so we are still planning to have a raffle prize or something like that to give away.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you, Mesh, and thank you to our listeners.
And ladies and gentlemen, with that, the House of the Week for GlobeNet Realty.
It has 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. Ideal for extended family. It can be used as a granny flat as well, with the easy access to the bathroom.
And GlobeNet Realty.
GlobeNet Realty. GlobeNet Realty has been the longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area. Washa Chandra, Director of GlobeNet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. GlobeNet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. GlobeNet Realty. Real estate is our world.
And real estate is the world. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Gentex Multimedia Daily Live presentation. Well, right now, let's take a very quick look at the functions and events that are taking place. Remember that a lot of these would be taking place virtually. there are, ladies and gentlemen, all the functions and events happening in Brisbane. And as I mentioned before, there will be lots that are taking place online. Do register for them. And as we know, these days people are rushing from one Zoom meeting to another Zoom meeting and from one virtual event to another virtual event. So even though it's lockdown and COVID-19, people are still very, very busy. And don't forget that our live cast tomorrow again will be from 11 because in the morning is the meeting with the Lord Mayor, and of course I'll bring to you all the update from that. And today it was wonderful talking with our Prime Minister, with other leaders of the multicultural media outlets of the country. So last budget we were at the Parliament House in the lockdown. We were there overnight, and that was wonderful to see how things actually work in the room, in the engine room of the budget news channels and all the other big celebratory channel, leaders together, rubbing shoulders with all of them and getting that. But once again, today, the media conference online wasn't very bad as well. It was very good and good to see, that we are there in with all the leading media outlets being invited to take part in that webinar. And don't forget that Brisbane Indian Times collect them from this weekend. So, the online version is already available, so you can go online and have a look. And of course, the hard copies will be available from this weekend at your favorite outlets. If you have any problem getting any of the copies, please do contact us, do let us know, and we'll guide you to where you can get. And of course, in the weekend, we came across a few people who said, when they go to the outlet, the paper's gone. So we'll be looking at increasing the numbers. We're always fine-tuning the numbers as to see where is the best distribution, who needs more, who needs a little bit less. So, we keep adjusting those figures from time to time, but we love to have your feedback of, if you are not receiving the papers, because we'd like to make sure that everyone gets a copy of the paper. Anyone who wishes to get one should be able to get their hands on one. And of course, Australian Indian Radio, thank you for everyone for listening in, tuning in, and our reports have gone up. Our numbers are growing. The listeners are growing every week, and we've also attracted, presenters all the way from, say, South Africa. We've got a presenter presenting all the way from Doha. So, with a radio with international reach, so that's what happens when, the whole world is your audience. So people tune in from everywhere. And of course, I'd like to make a special mention and thanks to all the admins of many groups in which we are able to share our, live feeds and the posts. And of course, do our apologies to, any group which does not allow that. And if by mistake, someone might have clicked the share button, our apologies there as well. It's unintentional. We're keeping a list of all the groups who allow us to say, so that we can say that many times there are many functions and events that are of interest to our community. And as we know, our segment is put together by some of the clips and things that are our own, which we have, and the others are from online portals collected and put together in a format that might be of interest. So saves you going here, there, and everywhere trying to find. So we have searched the web to find out the relevant information that might be of importance to anyone. And these ones are obviously available in the public domain already. It's not that it's exclusive to us. There are exclusive footage and coverage which we have and which we will mention on that. So once again, thank you so much for being with us on the light edition of this Wednesday's live cast. So until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me. Be good, and most importantly, remain safe.